Estaba escondido porque hoy, el 3 de septiembre, que me nació mi Hyundai de Sabana. Tienen que hablar conmigo. Esperemos a ver qué pasa. Ya pasaron 2 horas y media y ya están aquí. Ya están cerca. 6 horas aquí, encerrada.
Espérame en la entrada de aquí afuera, da la vuelta así. Aquí en toda la esquina. Fuera. Dale, ya vi toda la esquina. En toda la esquina, ya vi tu carro. Te estoy revisando las casetas. Dale.
So there were 452 illegals apprehended at the Hyundai mega plant construction site yesterday near Savannah. And I was the one that reported the information that I had to ICE. But it goes beyond just someone working illegally. Let me explain to you. These people are working for slave wages. Some are not getting paid. Some are being...
Nearly 500 people, most of them South Korea nationals, are in ICE custody tonight after what's being called the largest single-site enforcement operation in Homeland Security's 2-decade history. Yesterday's raid at a Hyundai manufacturing plant near Savannah, Georgia, was the result of a months-long investigation into allegations of illegal hiring at the site. Fox's Connor Hansen reports.
Federal agents arrested 475 workers after raiding a sprawling Hyundai EV battery factory under construction in Georgia. Most of them are South Koreans who were subcontractors in the country illegally, according to investigators.
Together, we are sending a clear and unequivocal message that those who exploit our workforce, undermine our economy, and violate federal laws will be held accountable.
Those arrested were handed over to ICE and brought to a detention center. Hyundai says none of them were direct employees. It's the largest raid so far as the Trump administration ramps up immigration enforcement.
This has been a multi-month criminal investigation where we have developed evidence, conducted interviews, gathered documents, and presented that evidence to the court in order to obtain a judicial search warrant.
The recently opened 2,000-acre campus is one of the largest economic projects in Georgia history. South Korean leaders were not happy with the news. Just over a week ago, its president visited the White House and pledged to invest billions of dollars in the U.S., including for battery manufacturing.
In Seoul, we also conveyed our concerns and regret through the U.S. Embassy today, urging special attention to ensure that the legitimate rights and interests of our citizens are not violated.
Governor Brian Kemp says Georgia National Guard troops will support ICE in Georgia, and hundreds will go to Washington, D.C. to help with federal crime-fighting efforts. In New York, Connor Hansen, Fox News.
There's people over here, like reporters. The whole fucking New York Avenue is shut the fuck down, man. Like, what is going on?
Well, I got a ticket, so if you're in DC, don't come down fucking New York Avenue to get on the Beltway, because they have a big ass checkpoint and they will stop you, and they're locking people up and taking people to fuck the jail. So, you've been warned. I got my ticket. Don't come down the street, okay? Don't come down New York Avenue going towards the Beltway. Don't do it, okay? Don't do it. I got a ticket. I got to contest this motherfucker because this is some entrapment. I was trying to record for my safety. That's what I'm gonna tell the judge. We stand in solidarity
This weekend, defiance on display across the country. People protesting President Trump's plans to send the National Guard and immigration agents into Democratic-run cities. In a Latino neighborhood near Chicago's South Side, a parade in honor of Mexican Independence Day lined with volunteers ready to sound the alarm at any sign of federal agents from ICE.
3 whistles consecutively means that there is ICE sighting. 1 continuous whistle, long whistle, means that someone is getting arrested.
Do you think you'll have to use it?
No, I have not had to use it, and I hope we don't.
The community now on alert following President Trump's threats to send federal forces into the country's 3rd largest city.
Chicago is a hellhole right now. We're going in. I didn't say when. We're going in.
The president citing crime as his rationale, and on Saturday posting what appeared to be an AI-generated image of himself in front of the Chicago skyline in flames and the phrase, "Shipocalypse now," saying, quote, "I love the smell of deportations in the morning," and, quote, "Chicago about to find out why it's called the Department of War." But data from the Chicago Police Department shows crime is down 15% over the past 2 years. Murder and robbery down more than 35%.
Truthfully, I think he barks more than he bites. I think he likes making threats. I think he likes to put fear in people's hearts and minds.
And one of the protesters telling me fear is contagious, but also saying so is courage. And Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker responding to President Trump yesterday, posting this tweet, which says the President of the United States is threatening to go to war with an American city. This is not a joke. This is not normal. Willie?
And many experts pointing out there's a clear constitutional problem for the president here, making it different than Washington. Adrian brought us in Chicago. Adrian, thanks so much.
The Trump administration is launching immigration raids across Chicago as the president threatens to also send in the National Guard. The Homeland Security Department is calling this Operation Midway Blitz. The agency says it will target undocumented immigrants with criminal records in the country's 3rd largest city. The move comes as President Trump said again this morning that in a separate move, he would like to send the National Guard to Chicago. Earlier this year, of course, he sent troops to Los Angeles to support ICE agents. And last month, he deployed the National Guard to D.C. to deal with crime.
We'd love to go into Chicago and straighten it out. You know, Washington, D.C., you'll be happy to know, is a free and safe zone. We could do the same thing in Chicago, New York, Los Angeles. We did it. We saved Los Angeles. And I don't know why Chicago isn't calling us saying, please give us help.
President Trump claims crime is rampant in Chicago, but police data does show homicides. They're down 31% in the Windy City compared to the same time last year. Aggravated assaults are down 16%. Robberies are down 33%. And CBS News Chief White House correspondent Nancy Cordes joins us now. Nancy, very good to see you. On Saturday, President Trump posted an AI-generated meme on Truth Social with, you saw it there, the caption, "I love the smell of deportations in the morning." Chicago about to find out why it's called the Department of War. Of course, that was right after it got renamed. But since making that post, what has the White House said about sending troops to Chicago and what that would actually look like?
They haven't really said anything, Nancy. The president continues to publicly flirt with the idea of sending the National Guard into Chicago. But when pushed, he generally says that he wants the governor of Illinois to invite him in, something that is not going to happen. Governor J.B. Pritzker saying that he doesn't want the National Guard in the Windy City. And so President Trump is very interested in the idea of sending in the Guard. He's talked a lot about crime in Chicago, but he has not pulled the trigger over at the Department of War, as he now calls it. What he has done is launch this new ICE operation that, as you pointed out, they're calling Operation Midway Blitz. But we're still trying to figure out how that's different from what they've been doing in Chicago and other cities over the past 5 months or so, because the official word that we got from ICE was that this was going to be an operation targeting people who are here in this country illegally, who have a criminal record. That is what they have always said. And according to activists on the ground today and over the weekend, they say they haven't seen a big uptick in federal arrests just yet.
All right. Nancy Cordes, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
You're welcome.
So, this was going on, man. Trump is about to deploy the National Guard to Chicago. And all I'm saying is this. Chicago is not going to turn out like Washington, D.C., I guarantee you. Chicago will not turn out like Washington, D.C. I guarantee you there'll probably be a war on our own soil if Trump deploys the National Guard to Chicago, Illinois. I really don't think it's a good idea, but he's serious about doing it. But I really don't think, man, it's not going to be no good into this. There's not going to be no good in this. So we'll see what happens, man. I just hope those people stay in the house. Stay in the house, guys, if you can help it. If you in Chicago, just stay in the house, man. Go to work, come home, that's it. Repeat.
And we're following more breaking news, a victory for the Trump administration after the Supreme Court ruled that immigration agents may stop and detain anyone they suspect is in the U.S. illegally. The decision lifts those restrictions on tactics used during immigration enforcement operations. NBC4's Conan Nolan joins us here in studio. And so, Conan, let's talk about what this now means for the immigrant community.
Well, it's a victory for the Trump administration, and those restrictions that were essentially enabled by a judge here in Southern California have been essentially overturned. Now, what is at issue here is what constitutes reasonable suspicion that someone may be in the country illegally. And in a move that was somewhat surprising today, the High Court issued an emergency order that halts the restrictions that had been imposed by a federal judge on ICE raids here in Southern California. The 6-3 vote of the U.S. Supreme Court is a victory for the Trump administration and the Department of Homeland Security. The High Court's conservative majority, at least temporarily, removing restrictions that had been placed on immigration and customs enforcement officers in the 7 counties of Southern California. L.A.-based federal judge Mame Frimpong had kept ICE agents from using factors such as race, language, where they are working, or what they are doing in formulating probable suspicion that someone may be in the country illegally. The judge said such considerations alone or together violated the Constitution's Fourth Amendment restriction on unreasonable searches and seizures. But a majority of the U.S. Supreme Court disagreed enough that today they stayed that court order, allowing ICE to operate as they had done in the past. Jessica Levinson is with Loyola Law School.
I think the Supreme Court's decision today gives the ability and authority for ICE agents to go to car washes and construction sites and look at the color of people's skin or their ethnicity, whether or not they're speaking Spanish or speaking in an accent, and to at least have a conversation about that person's immigration status. I don't think you can look at this as anything other than a win for the executive branch, a win for the Trump administration, a win for ICE agents who are saying, how else are we to enforce immigration law?
The opinion, Brett Kavanaugh, one of the Supreme Court justices who signed the majority, indicated that the number of undocumented immigrants in Southern California is, in his words, extraordinary, and that it shouldn't be a surprise that immigration agents are conducting enforcement actions in this region. The 3 liberal justices strongly dissented. Justice Sotomayor, in her dissent, says we should not live in a country where the government can seize anyone who looks Latino, speaks Spanish, and appears to work in a low-wage job. We also got a response from the mayor of L.A. I want the entire nation to hear me when I say this isn't just an attack on the people of L.A. This is an attack on every person in every city in this country. Today's ruling is not only dangerous, it's un-American and threatens the fabric of personal freedom in the United States of America.
So we're hearing these statements. What happens next, though?
Well, keep in mind, this is an emergency order. It does not refer to the points and authorities, the main argument over what this judge was saying. That could come back and you have a whole hearing and they go over, whether or not the merits of this decision is accurate or not. The fact, though, that they voted to stay the execution of this court order indicates they pretty much believe Donald Trump will win. And the administration will win when it comes to the full court. So what it means now is that L.A. is now being treated the same way as the rest of the country, which is they can take all sorts of things into consideration. It's not probable cause. We're not going to arrest you, but we can go to a car wash because we have research to show that a lot of undocumented people work at car washes, and if we believe somebody is possibly here illegally, I can talk to you and perhaps detain you until we find out whether or not you should be deported.
So then what is the recommendation for those who are American citizens, let's say, and they are racially being profiled? Is there concern for them? Because a lot of them were being detained.
True. I'll tell you one thing that everybody should do, whether you're here illegally or not, is not run. Because as soon as you run, that's an evidence of guilt, and that gives them reasonable suspicion to arrest you or detain you. So again, there are a number of strategies. Immigration rights groups have been talking about that, whether or not you can cooperate. You don't necessarily have to cooperate with an immigration agent. You're not forced to do anything. The fact, though, is that they are no longer bound to stay away from construction sites, car washes, and those kind of places in order to seek people who they believe here are illegal or undocumented.
All right. Conan Nolan, thank you so much.